sound witness nothing is worthy of worship except Allah is one alone with our partners and associates, and also the open sound witness of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a slave serving Masjid-Deen, and sealed the Prophet's peace be upon the Prophet, upon his descendants, upon his companions, and upon the righteous throughout the world. And peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. We're forever thankful to Allah, highly glorified for once again allowing us to unite for this wonderful part of this day of Jumu'ah, Salat al-Jumu'ah, by which we come to seek his aid, to beg of his mercy, to ask of his guidance, and most of all, we ask for and we beg for his forgiveness. We ask for his mercy. That's why we begin everything, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. We are forever thankful to Allah, highly glorified as he for again allowing us to be a part of this mighty movement called Al-Islam. That's what it is. Al-Islam is a movement towards freedom. It's a movement towards freedom through worship of Allah. When a human being is obsessed with things, they experience bondage. So this movement of praying, this movement of serving people, this movement of having decent character, that's the kind of movement that revolutionizes, that impacts the world. Because that's what the world is in need of. The world is in need of a movement that is led by guidance from Allah. If you look around the world, you can see that's what the world is starving. The world is starving for guidance. We went through Ramadan, we fasted in the month of Ramadan for the very purpose of seeking nearness to Allah. Now Allah tells us clearly that the Quran is huda linas, that the Quran is guidance for all people. That's what the world is in need of. The world is in need of guidance. When you look at what's happening in the world, the great divisions in the world, the segregation in the world, the ideal of supremacy, particularly white supremacy operating in the world, when you begin to look at this, you will begin to see that the world is in dire need of guidance. And because of the lack of guidance, which is the major remedy for all of these other symptoms that we see. See, all we see operating in the world are nothing but symptoms of the absence of this awareness of Allah as revealed in this scripture called Quran. So he said that the Quran is huda linas, because it is revealed to Muhammad the Prophet to lead the humanity from the depths of darkness into light. Here's what Allah says clearly in the Quran. He says, this is a book which we have revealed to you that you may lead mankind out of the depths of darkness into the light by the permission of their Lord. By the permission of their Lord. So Allah said the reason why he revealed this Quran is to bring the human being out of not just darkness that he can't see, but to bring the human being out of oppression, to bring him out of oppressive forces that's weighing down the human being, that will not allow the human being to really see their true worth as a human being. So they're short circuit, because the darkness does not create the right environment by which human beings can grow and thrive. That's why in this verse, it talks about leadership, that is going to lead the human being from oppression so that they can begin to see. We talk about political darkness, economic darkness, where human beings are living in bondage of debt, high interest rates, working from paycheck to paycheck, can't even survive because of the great economic oppression. So he said he revealed the Quran and sent to the Muhammad that he may lead humanity from the depths of darkness into the light. Talking about how powerful light is. There's a verse in the Bible that says that you are the light of the world. See, when you serve Allah, when you do his work, you become the model that human beings could look at and see what's possible for them. When they look at you, they can see the glow. They can see the nur, the light coming from you. That's why the Quran talks about, and their light went before them. That people can say there's something about you. Because now they're looking at character. And Muhammad the Prophet ﷺ said, I come not except to perfect character. That's light. You're seeing the decency of a human being. He said he revealed the Quran that you may lead humanity from the depths of darkness. When you got bad character, when you're living indecent lifestyles, that's darkness. It doesn't inspire. See, light inspires. When you see the light, it illuminates. It gives you the view of what's possible. And it only takes a little bit of light to dispel darkness. I remember growing up in the church, and I heard a song and it stuck with me. It talked about this little light of mine. See, you got a light. It said, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. When you have this truth, you're supposed to share this truth with others. They're supposed to see the light in you. And they can see you as a model of what it means to be an evolved human being guided by the guidance of Allah. So you teach on the light. Because you realize that Muhammad the Prophet said you teach the light, because he said that khayrukum min tu'allama al-Qur'an wa 'allamahu. That the best of you is he who learns the Quran, but don't keep it to himself. You don't keep the light to yourself. You learn the Quran, and then you feel a responsibility to teach that Quranic message to other human beings. Why? Because you know what that light gonna do for them. The light is powerful. When you look at the powerful rays of the sun, when you look at solar energy, when you look at laser beam, condensed energy, condensed light, it can burst through anything. When the rays of the sun comes down on the magnifying glass, it's so powerful it can start a fire. That is the power of light. So he said, the best of you is he who learns the Quran. You learn this message, you learn the guidance of Allah, and you look at what is done for you, and then you feel inspired to share with other human beings because you know what it can do for them. So the verse said, and we reveal the Quran to you that you may lead mankind out of the depths of darkness, out of oppression, into the light by the permission of their Rabb. Why? See, so the light is going to allow them to graduate. Imam Muhammad said that Rabb, I'm talking about this attribute of Rabb, which is the attribute of how Allah introduced himself to the world. The first revelation, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. He first introduced himself to the world as Rabb, as evolved. That's the first revelation. Here's the process of allowing human beings to graduate from weakness to strength as Rabb. He's the nourisher. Imam Muhammad said that Rabb carries with it the meaning of care, concern, and nourishment that is given to something in its weak state to progress it to its mature state, that it will be able to carry out the function, plan, and design for it. So he says in this verse, he sent the light, the Quran, to lead them from darkness by the permission of the one who's allowing them to graduate. That's what the revelation does. It allows you to graduate. So when you're under the influence of Rabbil Alameen, he is the one that allows you to move from smallness to greatness. From inferiority complex to dignity, power, and strength. So he says, by the permission of their Rabb. Very, very important that we understand what Rabb is. That's the same attribute that is addressed in Al-Fatiha when we say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Praise be to Allah, the evolver, as Imam Muhammad teaches, of all systems of knowledge. Going back to darkness. That's the world, see? There's so much darkness in the world. Man is uninformed. These systems of knowledge in the political world, he's uninformed of how you govern the world, how you govern and manage a society, what kind of leadership you need to shape the world. That's darkness. We find that right now today. All through the political world, we find great degrees of darkness, of inconsistency, of immorality, of no respect for human life, separating mother from child. See, that's darkness where they can't even find out where the child is. And one child said they had not seen their mother in 8 months. That's political darkness. Another child was reunited with a mother, hadn't seen her mother for 2 months. Can you imagine being separated from your mother, not knowing if you will ever see your child again? And that's the kind of decisions that are made from the political world here in America. Political darkness, segregation, discrimination. The only people I've seen that they've been running down, I've never seen them run down Caucasians. I've seen them run down Latinos. I've seen them classify Muslims from other countries. I have not yet seen them run down, separate, lock up Caucasians. Political thought. He said he revealed the Quran to lead humanity, not just from darkness, from the depths of darkness into the light. See, that reminds me, because I go back in my mind of what took place on the plantation among African Americans in this country. That was irregular, that the child was separated and sold, the parent never seen the child ever again. Don't you know right now, they have to take DNA to find out, is that a person's child? Because when they took the children, they didn't know, how do we reconnect them? See, that's an arrogant form of leadership that is not even organized. That now they're trying to find out, how do we reunite? Because we're so driven to do something, it wasn't thought out. So Allah said he sent the Quran to Muhammad the Prophet that he may lead humanity from oppression. Not just darkness, but oppression. Where the life is not able to thoroughly express itself. And Allah teaches us in the Quran about oppression. That it is worse than slaughter. You know that? The Quran says that oppression is worse than slaughter. That you weigh a human being down, deny them access to free living. That's worse than killing. Because when a human being is not in existence, it's over. But when you have that human being in existence and they're not able to express, reveal, and unleash what God has put in them, oh, that's damaging. That's what you call a traumatic experience. So you see, it's in the Quran to lead the humanity from the depths of darkness into the light, because light is transforming. Light, when it illuminates, it allows you to see more. And there's so much in the world. There's an abundance of knowledge all over the world. I gave you the part of Al-Fatiha where it says, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. He's a Rabb. The attribute of Rabb is connected to knowledge. That you should always see yourself in a discovery mode, trying to find more. They're having all kind of breakthroughs in the medical world. They're having all kind of breakthroughs in the scientific world. They're having all kind of breakthroughs in the economic world because there's always more. And I want you to realize that you don't know what you don't know. I hope you understand what I just said to you. There's so much information, there's so much data out there, you don't know what you don't know. And that's how you become more equipped. You become more effective when you acquire information. In fact, that is the basis for the freedom that we're talking about. You got to get the information. You have to read. The first revelation that ignited a worldwide revolution began with one word, Iqra. Read and then make known what you've read. And then it goes back to Iqra Bismi Rabbi Kala. Read in the name of your evolver who creates. That's how the slave was made. Don't you know the slave was conditioned to not have the desire for wanting to know? That's why the verse said he revealed to remove them from the depths of darkness. The slave was conditioned to not even be interested in wanting to know. And people now pride themselves in being ignorant. They pride themselves in that. Not wanting to be informed. And that's why you see in society, ignorance just reproducing itself. When you look at the stupidity that takes place in society, you see the real ignorance taking place in society, and people just repeat what they see. And it doesn't even bother them. That's why I remember when I was reading Malcolm X, Malik Shabazz, he said in his book, he said, "Wells, but in a prison, could I have attacked my ignorance?" You heard that word? He said, "Wells, but in a prison, could I have attacked my ignorance?" By reading extensively, sometimes up to 15 hours a day. See, the light was turned on. Because he was deprived of so much information, he said, whoa, I have to wage war on my enemy, and ignorance becomes your enemy. I remember the bumper sticker said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. The burden of ignorance is going to cost you more. If you think education, people want to buy books, people want to go to school, they got little small baby libraries, they spend more money on everything but books and information. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. And you look at what ignorance is doing for people. Just imagine what the lack of data is doing for people. But the verse says that you may lead Muhammad, mankind, out of the depths of darkness into enlightenment. I mean, we did the convention. The title of the convention was "The Light is On." That's what we have to do. We have to turn the light on. Because there's so much darkness. I mean, every time I turn on the news, there's an abundance of darkness. Vulgarity, indecency. I mean, just poor health. Rape, molestation, unjustifiable murders. Everything. Because of the depths of darkness. So it's our responsibility to teach truth, to turn the light on so people can see better. And they can see in the midst of all the darkness, they can see the abundance of opportunity that's in front of them. I mean, it's an abundance of opportunity. Just as much as there's an abundance of ignorance, there's an abundance of opportunity. We live in a world of abundance. We don't live in a world that's lacking in anything. And Allah himself says, and if you are grateful, I will give you more. Now see, if you want more to flow into your life, if you want more opportunity to flow into your life, if you want more money to flow into your life, if you want stronger relationships to flow into your life, people to flow into your life, Allah said, just be grateful. And if you are grateful, he says, he will allow more to flow into your life. He says, I will give you more. So we live in a world of abundance. We're not lacking in anything. The only thing we're lacking is our drive to go after it. And what does Allah say in the Quran? That the human being is nothing but what he strives for. Is a strong effort that you're getting is in your striving. And that's what we see in the Hajj. The Hajj is a great picture of the drive to reach a goal. You start off at the Kaaba, the end goal with all the challenges is to make it to Arafat. And Muhammad the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, where there's no Arafat, the place where all the Muslims unite on Hajj, there is no Hajj. So the goal of the person on Hajj, on that lifetime journey, is to struggle even with all the challenges to make it to Arafat. That's life. Hajj is a picture of life. And Hajj teaches us how do we deal with human beings. We start off at Kaaba. We start at the spot that means joints, it means to connect. That's the building that unites the human family. We start off at that point, and from that point, we come into the realization that we're not judging a human being. We are bonding with a human being. That's why the Quran says it's hudali nas. Allah says that Hajj is an obligation man owed to Allah. Man, what is man? Nas. This social connecting being. And it teaches how to connect with the human being. That's why it dispels and does away with all the isms that separate the human being. It does away with sexism, classism, racism, nationalism. It does with everything to bring the human being together because it is a force that unites the human family. And that's why you put on the Ikram. When you put on the Ikram, you put on the two sheets. You do away with the national guard that separates and shows social status. When you put on the Ikram, you are saying, I'm looking at a human being. I'm not judging you based on what you have and what you don't have. I'm dealing with a human being. And that's the picture most people miss. They miss what does it mean to deal with a human being. That's why you have so much racism in America, because they lost the idea of how do I deal with a human being. And then who told me I was superior to another human being? And who told me I was inferior to another human being? So Hajj teaches a powerful lesson on humanism, on how do you connect and bond with a human being. So Allah says, he sent Muhammad the Prophet with the Quran to lead man from out of the depths of darkness into the light by the remission of their darkness. Enlightenment. That's what the world needs. The world needs to be more informed. They need to be more informed about the ultimate relationship. The ultimate relationship they should have with the one who gave them their life. That's why Ramadan taught us so much about preservation. That's why when we say we fast for taqwa, this consciousness of Allah, but this consciousness of Allah, taqwa, is all about preservation. It's about preserving the relationship. And if we preserve the relationship we ought to have with Allah, then that relationship influences how we deal with everything in His creation. If we have a healthy regard for Allah, we must have a healthy regard for His creation. If we have a healthy respect for Allah, we realize that we must have a healthy respect for everything. That's why Muhammad the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that even a plant, he was going through war, don't just cut a plant for no reason. So when you cut a plant for no reason, you don't even know what you just did. You just cut off the life that comes from the plant. See, the plant, everything creation has an assignment. We breathe in, we breathe out. We get life from the plant, and then we breathe out life that feeds the life inside the plant. So there's a relationship. We are connected to everything in existence. So Allah has given everything an assignment. So as we become more conscious of Him, then we become more conscious of everything He created. That's why we got major problems with disrespect for life. I don't care if a person is drugged out, I don't care if a person is in poverty, if a person is a drug addict, if a person is a bum. It's not my job to disrespect that person. It's my job to call that person to respect, because that is not the way Allah intended for that human being to be. So it's my job to call that human being to life. I call that human being to life because I know Allah put an abundance of life in that human being that human being has not yet realized himself. And then you and I don't know what happened in that person's life that got them in that state. So the whole idea of fasting is to get us in the mindset of stopping. Now you understand, when we go through Ramadan, we realize this is one of the pillars of our life. 5 pillars. And they're just not pillars that you do and it's over. That principle of stopping, because that's what Siyam is, stopping is to be used every day in your life. Because if you're not able to stop, you're on your way into bondage. Don't you know that? If you're not able to stop, that's how obesity becomes. Obesity becomes a reality because people just can't seem to find the power to stop eating. Addictions grow because people just can't seem to tap into power to stop putting dangerous chemicals in their body. Stop. That's what Siyam is. Fasting is prescribed to you as it was prescribed to those before you. The stopping is a prescription for your success. If you can't stop, you're on your way to bondage. You're on your way to captivity. If you can't stop spending, you're on your way to death. You're on your way to financial bondage. So Siyam, fasting, this halting, stopping, is very, very powerful in your growth and development. So Allah says fasting is prescribed to you as it was prescribed to those before you, that you may grow in taqwa, that you may learn self-restraint. We need that every single day. To have the power to control. That's why the human being is quite different from an animal. The animal is strictly moving by instinct. There's no creativity. There's no thought. There's no focus on the future. The animal is strictly driven by instinct. The human being must be driven by instinct, intellect, and guidance. You gotta have the intellect, you gotta make choices, you gotta create, you gotta do new things. Because once the beaver work on the dam, it's over. It can't do nothing else. It can't break the dam down, make it high, make it wider. Its instinct says this is how the dam is, that's it. Can't put no color to it. But the human being who Allah is gifted with instinct and intellect can do wonderful things. That's why they can do wonderful things with their life. They can come from so-called nothing to greatness. They can come from poverty to wealth and abundance. They can come from the darkness we've been talking about and become scholarly. I mean, admired all over the world. Authors, engineers, scientists coming from zero. The standards of the world, zero. Because Allah gave the human being not just instinct, but He gave him intellect. And He gave him guidance. We said that the Quran is Hudad Linaz. It is the guidance that the human being needs for a better life. Hudad is the guidance of God, of Allah, that the human being needs for a better life. That's why this masjid is called Masjid Al Hadi. It is the place where human beings can get guidance for a better life. Hadi, Huda. هدى للناس ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. السلام عليكم. Assalamu alaikum. So we're talking about this idea of stopping power. You know, if you realize the power Allah invested in your being. We began the khutbah talking about the attribute of Rob and what Rob suggests. It suggests you coming from smallness to greatness. Rob, he's lifting you up. Allah says in the Quran, He placed the human being in the earth to grow like a seed. He placed you in the earth to grow. Everything about this life for us is about growth. And when we realize the ideal of growth, we realize that there are some forces that's working against our growth. Working against our growth as individuals, working against our growth as a community, working against our growth as a family. There are forces, the dark forces we were talking about, the dunamis, the oppressive forces that are working to retard, to block progress. Allah says clearly, إِنِّي هَدِيَ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَّ رَبِّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُونِ. Verily this ummah of yours is one ummah, and I am your evolver, therefore serve me. One ummah. And I am your evolver. Oh, it's very powerful. Allah said He's the one that's going to allow you to graduate as a group. That you got power. You are a group that realizes you have to push and support each other just like a mother. That's what the ummah is from the same word of a mother. The ummah sees itself as one who is feeding the growing minds. Just like a mother feeds the growing child. And if the mother does not give the child the proper nutrients, it's going to be malfunction, malnourishment. And just like you have an unhealthy mother that can feed an unhealthy child that grows into a non-productive child, you can have that for ummah. The ummah must be healthy and strong enough to do the work of serving Allah by serving people. That's why it says, one ummah, and I am your evolver. Get under that influence. If we operate under any influence other than the influence of Rabbil Alameen, we're in trouble. Verily, this ummah of yours is one, and I am your evolver. Stop worshiping things and people. Being obsessed by other people, being obsessed by other things that are just consuming your life. Verily, this ummah of yours, here's the organization of the body. All the organs in your body have a place. They have an assignment. The liver has an assignment. The kidneys have an assignment. The heart has an assignment. That's what the body is. That's what Muhammad the Prophet said. This ummah, this community is just like a body. And when one part of the body ails, one part of the body feels discomfort, the entire body feels it. Pain in your leg, your whole body messed up. Toothache in your mouth, whole body messed up. All these organs have a particular assignment. If all these organs have a specific assignment, each member in a community has to find, as the Quran says, work you in your place. You have to find your place and go to work. Because that's when the true fulfillment comes through the work that allows you to release what Allah put in you. That's why I talked to you before. Allah said He placed you in the earth. You know when you hear the adhan and you hear Hayya ala salat and you hear Hayya ala falah, you know the whole idea of cultivation is the farmer that's in the soil. And the only way that seed is going to properly grow is that the farmer has to till the soil and get the soil ready to receive the seed. See, there's certain barren lands that you can throw all the seeds you want and life will not grow. If I throw a seed right on this carpet, no life will grow. Because this is not the environment that gives the seed what it needs to emerge and realize its worth, because the power is in the seed. And the power is in the seed, but the seed needs external forces that will allow it to express the power that is inside. So the seed takes from the soil. The seed pulls from the sunlight. The seed pulls from the moisture of the water that is in the soil that taps the life inside the seed. Because you see, there's a shell. And all those external forces, the minerals that's coming from the soil, it activates the life that's inside that seed. Just like all these challenges you face in your life, those challenges are designed for you to realize the power that's in your body. You think you're going to go somewhere in life and you ain't got no challenge? You think you're going to grow and evolve as a community and you've been faced with nothing? Your true wealth and value will be realized as you face the challenges in your life. It ain't going to be easy. You're going to go through some storms. There's a saying I remember, it's very powerful. It says, smooth seas don't make great sailors. The great sailor is made when he go out there and navigate through that storm. That's what you say, I want to ride with him. The person has no experience, don't know how to deal with the storms and the rain and the winds, you don't want to ride with him. You want to ride with the person that already showed you, I'm experienced enough to deal with the agitation of that water. Smooth seas, when it's easy, don't make great sailors. It has been said that in life, you either enter in a storm, you're in a storm, or you're on your way out. That's life for you. You're either going into a storm, and you will have a storm. I don't care if it's in your family, if it's in your health, if it's in your finances, you will face a storm. That's why Allah says, verily, with every difficulty there is relief, that you're going to get on the other side of the storm. But in order for you to get on the other side of the storm, you must keep pushing. See, some people just give up. Life becomes tough, they throw their hands up. I can't handle it. It's over. That's why I said from the beginning about Hajj, you start off at Kaaba, and your journey is to Africa. I've been there, I've seen people give up. I can't go no further. No, I can't. They're afraid. See too many people, I can't do it. Get claustrophobic, I can't move. Too many people not doing it. I said your faith brought you here. See, and it's going to be your faith that's going to keep you moving. People are going to get lost, people are going to get separated from it. But you got to keep pushing because you know your destiny is out of that. And Muhammad the Prophet said, where there is no arafat, there's no arafat. You got to keep pushing. Just like that seed, you got to push through that soil. That seed will continue to push through that soil because it's moving for a breakthrough. That seed is going down into the soil, root itself, and is pushing because it wants to experience a breakthrough. So if there's a brick right there, that life will go around that brick. I've seen it take place. You've seen it. There's so much power in the seed I've seen on asphalt in the ground. I've seen blades of grass coming up. It was power. That's the kind of power Allah put in that seed. Now, if Allah put that in the seed, imagine what He put in you. He said He placed you in the earth that you may grow like a seed. There's power in you, but that power is only realized when you find yourself in the right environment that's feeding you. You need to be around strength, you need to be around power. But the ideal of being able to say, to stop, to say no, lack. It's that ideal of being able to stop, to say no, that's how you grow. When you're not able to say stop, when you're not able to say no, bondage will be your companion. So Allah wants us to be strong. And we're going to grow as we continue to face challenges as human beings, as a community, realizing our worth and value is seen in how we deal with those challenges. Allah said Allah has promised to those who believe and do good that He will make them rulers in the earth as He made rulers of those before them. See, Allah is all about making those who master themselves, and then they can master the environment. You can't serve Allah if you can't master your urges. If you're not able to master your urges, somebody else will give you something to follow that will put you in captivity. He said, the promise of those who believe and do good. Look at the reward that comes. Rulership in the earth. You see that big picture? Allah said, He will make you the Khalifa in the earth. You will be the ruler. Coming behind those who already showed you what it means to be a ruler. Others have showed you what it means to be a ruler. Watch their life. Muhammad the Prophet showed us what it means to be a ruler, a master over yourself. That Allah can take you from smallness and bring you up to greatness. Isn't that what happened with Bilal? Took Bilal from bondage of being a slave and brought him up to the one that is now calling the world to freedom. The world had never seen that before. See, Allah took the one that the world had wrote off. Bilal, you're nothing but a slave. Who are you? You are my inferior. You're not my superior. You are my inferior. In fact, you're not even on my level. But Allah took the one they wrote up, said is nothing, and got on the Kaaba and now called the people to freedom. Because when you call them to Allah, call them to prayer, call them to prosperity, you are calling people to freedom. So when they put the boulder, I told you before about the challenge, when they put the boulder on Bilal, when Bilal didn't submit to that force, a man had to respect that power that was coming from a human being. It was coming from his spirit. He said, he's no good to us. Let him go. And when you submit your will to Allah, Allah said those who believe and do good, they're giving of themselves. They're giving in zakat. They're serving people. They have strong faith in Allah. They realize that zakat, when they give in charity, they're not losing, they're gaining. See, people don't give in charity because they believe that if I give, I'm going to lose. No, when you give, you gain, you purify your soul. When you give, Allah said that He will multiply what you give. So He said those who believe and they're inspired by their belief to do good, to serve other people, He said He will make them rulers in the land. That's a powerful position. And Allah said He will make you a master. So you ain't supposed to be following the world. In fact, you and I are not even supposed to be in mind what everybody else doing because we have the same ability. In fact, we have a great advantage because we have the guidance of the Quran, but there's something that's holding us back. And we have to find out what is it that is holding us back. I remember reading when Imam Muhammad said we have to look at the strange behavior of our group spirit that keep us unestablished as a people. Strange behavior. There's something that's blocking us from being admired by the world instead of us always admiring other people. See, we admire. We talking about what the guy did with Facebook, what the guy did with, what the guy did with YouTube, what the guy did with everything. We admire everybody instead of being admired by the world. When in fact, Allah said that you are the shahid. You are the witness and the example of what the human being is supposed to be doing to serve the world instead of us always admiring what other people do. We have to get back to belief. So He said, and Allah has promised to those who believe. I was thinking about Amazon. I was trying to think about Amazon. Amazon. We admire everybody, but we have to be in a position of serving Allah where the world is supposed to be admiring our creativity. Why? Because our creativity is inspired by the guidance of Allah. These people are doing this without the guidance of Allah. We have the guidance of Allah and the best example of Muhammad the Prophet, who said, peace be upon him, when the believer endeavors a task, he seeks excellence. Excellence, to excel. The best. We put the best construction on it. So the world is supposed to be admiring us because Allah said clearly, those who believe, His promise is that He will make you rulers in the earth as He has made those before you rulers. May Allah bless you. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.